Hello, DrawClass. What is up, Patreon DrawClass supporters? Welcome to the dang old OC critique stream. Let me remember how to show myself to you. Here I am. I'm not ashamed. I am here. I'm ready. I've been looking forward to this one. I'm ready to look at some dang characters, man. I want to see them. I want to see them things. How's everybody doing today? Got a nice little crowd in the chat so far. Love to see it. Got to say right off the bat, thank you all so much for supporting us at the DrawClass Patreon tier. We really appreciate it. And I hope this is going to be a fun one. We're always doing, aren't we? Fiacre Studios, woke up early, got more done than normal. That's what I like to hear. I had the Basilisk doing some art, hanging out. Excited to hear what you have to say about not only art stuff, but also things. Listen, I'm sure I'll talk about things too. Lovesick, hello. Bloodbender64, you're excited and nervous. Some of it might be the coffee. Yeah, I'm drinking some Earl Grey tea right now, so I got the caffeine as well. Although I'm about to crack open a seltzer, so here we go. Let's get the inaugural crack. That wasn't that loud. I don't know if that's a bad omen or not. But yeah, it's just gonna be me today. We're gonna be doing a solo critique stream. Nathan is a bit busy working on the audio for an upcoming episode. So I'm just going to rock it solo style. G Gokuro said, I'm not in any relevant way an artist, but hanging with Jacob is a good time. Hanging with you is a good time. I like these vibes. I like these good vibes that everyone is bringing. Here's a thing I can talk about before we get started. Pretty exciting news. We've recently got a high chair for the little boy. And he is loving that thing. He's sitting up pretty well by himself for the first time. And he always sits in it and he looks so proud and so happy with himself. And I'm like, yes, man. Yes, you should be proud. You're holding your head up and looking around. What a guy. Nathan gets a high chair. Nathan is not our precious boy. Nathan is your precious boy. Felix is our precious boy. He's totally different. Yeah, we're trying to get him used to eating meals with us, so he wants to start eating some solid food at some point in the near future, so pretty big for him. That's my life update. Why don't we get to some dang characters, though? Because these streams always go so long. I should not be killing time. And I should also lay out my idea for this stream. My concept is that I have compiled some character design fundamentals. These are the aspects that we're going to be looking to as we look at these OCs that you all have submitted. And we're going to be seeing if they, if they meet all the criteria, where they could be improved based on these criteria. I think that these are all very good ways to think about designing a character, stuff to keep in your mind when you're designing a character, so you can like run through this checklist yourself and be like, does my character meet these strongly enough, or could I push it further, or could I change it to hit some of these markers? So I'm gonna write them out for you on the screen. I'm gonna try to do it in such a way that they can be at the top of the screen at all times, so we remember them. That's the letter F. Maybe we don't use the anime font for this one. How about we use a classic? How about we use an Arial Narrow? We love an Arial Narrow. So the first thing we're going to be looking for is character silhouette. This is, if you were just seeing them and they were totally in shadow, you could still identify them based on the the outer silhouette of the character. This is, I think, a very important one, and it's what is also the first thing that will be noticed when you look at a character, because it's as soon as you see it, that's the first thing you're perceiving. Number 2 is body language, specifically with regards to the character's personality. Is their body language indicating something about their personality, or like cluing the viewer into something important about the character? And I think that's also something people tend to notice right off the bat, because it's one of the most obvious things we as people notice about other people as well. That one might not always be relevant if people are doing like, you know, sort of T-pose turnarounds of the character. You can't really do body language, but you know, we'll do the best of what we got here. The third one is what I like to call points of interest, which is basically like, what are the big eye-catching accessories of your character? Like usually there's like 1 or 2 that a character has that are like the things you'll see first. Like think about like, you know, Vegeta Dragon Ball Z. You see him and you see his straight up spiky hair and you see his giant shoulders. I would describe those as like his 2 accessories. Let's take a look at him real quick. The classic Vegeta design before they took away his shoulders. This guy, this fella right here. Got to pull chat back up. Now I just am looking at Vegeta. I have no chat. So when you see him, you're like, boom, spiky hair, boom, giant shoulders. These are what I would call Vegeta's points of interest. And it's what make you see him and recognize him. They also happen to be a part of his silhouette. And I think that's not a coincidence. Okay, get him out of here. Get back to my text. Number 4, I would say, is costuming, which is sort of the rest of the details about the outfit and sort of what they say about the character, if anything at all. And then last but not least is color palette, which I think is important, but is ultimately, of these 5 things, the least important. Because you can have a really great character design with no colors, but if you have only colors and none of this other stuff, you can't really have a good character design. So that's my thought on the matter. These are going to be the 5 things we're going to be looking at. And we are going to jump right in with the first one here, which I believe is from So Eepy. Let's get the images in here. Copy image, paste image. They got 2 images here, and I think they're mostly looking for critique on the adult versions. But I really like these. They're very cute. Fat Fries, that's you? Nice. So let's get these in here. And then we will we'll read a little bit about the characters here. They are Mira and Looney. Mirasol and Lunaria are their full names. Looks like they're like fan children of Victor and Jace from Arcane, which I don't know much about, but that's okay. I don't need to know that in order to look at them and say they're cute. I'm hoping to get critique and help on Lunaria's adult designs, that she was a last-minute addition, with the only planning being that she parallels her sister with her moon motif. Since they both take up after their fathers, I decided to pick Mira as an inventor and Looney as an artist in their adult years, and I really hope it shows. So you're mostly looking for critique on this character here, the adult Looney. And we will see how we can make her more artistly. I like that. I like that angle. So I'm going to take the children ones away for now, for this moment. And I think the first thing we're going to do is do some silhouette check. So let me actually copy this before I start messing everything up. Duplicate layer. because I'm going to just start, I'm just going to start getting rid of stuff. Because I want to look at the silhouettes. Because my instinct, without even looking at it yet, is that Mira has a stronger sort of silhouette vision right now. Let's just do that. And we'll do this. And we got to get rid of these little parts in here. And we want to get rid of these little parts in here. Okay, sweet. Let's, we're just going to bring the luminosity all the way down. Check the silhouettes here. Yeah, I think right off the bat, this silhouette for Mira here is very eye-catching, I feel. And I think it has to do with, you've got some really nice size variation going on. Which is, oh no, 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 no. My freaking tablet, man, no. Why? Not like this. It was working a minute ago. Fuck. All right, let me think. Let me think. Let me try the thing. I might need to restart the stream in a second and try to fix it. See if I can reset the drivers. Drivers. Display settings. How do I reset the dang drivers? Restart driver, here we go. Let's see. Restart, oh, we're so back? Kind of? We're kind of back? I don't seem to have pressure sensitivity. I don't seem to have okay, let me try restarting Clip Studio now. Give me 1 sec, everyone. Sorry about this. I'm gonna go to starting soon real quick. Turn off the song because I need to save this. Save it in the streams folder. What the heck's the date today? The 29th. Okay, let me reboot Clip Studio real fast. Hopefully that'll fix it. Last time I had to restart my computer several times. I think the issue is because I deactivate my Cintiq when I'm streaming for Secret Sleepover, and then when I reactivate it, the drivers are all messed up. Okay, let's see. Okay, now restarting Clip Studio has made it not work at all again. Okay. Let me try resetting the drivers one more time. I'm in hell. I'm living in hell. I'm a streamer and my life is a nightmare. Okay, we'll just do it with the shitty pen that doesn't work right. That's fine. I won't be able to draw good, but we'll all get the point. I think that's all that matters. Okay, anyways, back to what I was saying. This character has really fun shape language. You have sort of like this smaller triangular top, and then you got the big bottom, small waist, big pants, that then goes down into like small feet again, and then large head. So it's kind of like big circle, small triangle, big square, and that like dichotomy of the stacking shapes and sizes makes it for a very identifiable character. And then also in terms of the points of interest category, these little straps that hang down, I think those are a really smart idea. So anything that like comes off of the base form and is eye-catching like this makes for like a really memorable design in my eyes. It's like an easy little hack. I feel like by the other, looking at the other character, looking at Looney over here, she's maybe missing some of the same variation that this character has. And kind of from the silhouette, if I like had to guess what this character did, I think instead of artist, I would think she was like some sort of, she's kind of got like horseback rider vibes, I think because of the boots, the tall boots. Let's take a look here. Something about like the pants tucked into the tall boots gives me like horseback rider energy. So maybe she needs like something else going on that is a little more artistly. Some sort of like accessory that says like artist. I mean, like the, you know, obvious and played out example is like, you know, like hat. Like, oh, I'm an artist, I wear a beret. Like, I don't recommend actually doing that, but that's just like an example of a thing that it could be. And ideally that thing would also have like an impact on the silhouette of the character. Something I really like is this sash that is like moon shaped, because you said the character is like moon themed. I really like the moon shaped sash. Perhaps that could be something if it's like a bigger like satchel, like a larger moon shaped satchel that kind of comes off the form a bit, and could contain like, you know, stuff, art supplies, could contain like stuff in it. Another thing you could do is, if she's meant to be sort of a dichotomy from this character, you could push sort of the like height angle of her a bit more, maybe go a bit like taller and thinner. Like really sort of accentuate the, because this character is kind of stout and strong, and you know, it's a trope for a reason to like Mario and Luigi it. But it's because it works. It provides like such a stark silhouette difference. So you could go with like a thinner, taller sort of vibe, just to make them feel a bit more different. Maybe you could even go something like, because this is like sort of curly, wavy, big hair, you could go with like flatter hair on this character. Just some examples of like things you could look at to make her feel a little bit different. I like the top. I think the top is cool. Another angle you could potentially look at is she's meant to be 5'11" and Mira at 4'11", but I made my canvas too small. I totally get that. I do that all the time. But yeah, if she's 5'11" and Mira's 4'11", then Mira would be like here. Compared to her, you know, it'd be something like this, which I think the height difference would honestly make a big, and there's her big muscles. The height difference would make a big difference in sort of like differentiating their designs for sure, I think. I think you're definitely on the right track with these, though. I really like the look of like the clothes and the lines, like all the costuming stuff. I really like. I feel like once this character has been given sort of the same amount of thought and attention as this character, I think you'll be like right on the right track. Yeah, another thing I was gonna say that's a potential option you could do is go like go for a look that's like, if you wanted to be really opposite about it. Actually, let's get a big brush so we can do some silhouettes here. Go for a look that's like big on top, small on bottom. This also reads artsy to me for some reason, like giant sweatery thing on top and then like skinny little legs. This could be another way to differentiate them. So then you'd have like, you know, big on bottom here, big on top on the other side. Something like that's always fun for me. But I think also you said that your character on the left here, Mira, is the introvert, which I assume means that Luna's the extrovert. So maybe something like a big sweater would be too much like hiding, which wouldn't like suit her personality. So, you know, you kind of have to figure that out for yourself. You maybe could put more elements of introversion into Mira as well, because she kind of has a very confident vibe to me right now. So I don't know if you want that to be part of her character, that she's a little more subdued in social situations, but in any case, we have to move on. Thank you so much for your submission. These are really fun. I hope this was helpful. And we're going to get the next one here. Okay, I see the one from Rowan Fiacra Studios here, but you reposted it, right? Let me go down. Yeah, there it is. So let me get the image here. Another very cool one. Love the clothing on this one. And then I'll go back up and I will read. I will read what you said. This is Alar. This is a D&D lore type of thing. My main tab and protagonist along my Baldur's Gate 3 fan comic. Okay, we got a Drow, Circle of the Moon Druid. I mean, that definitely reads to me. Let's see about if there's any... You're saying it just mostly takes place at night? I really like the limited palette you've gone with here. I think it's really cool, actually. I don't really have any problem with the palette. But let's take a look at some other stuff here. Okay, silhouette-wise, I feel like this character works for me pretty well. I do get like druidic vibes. I'm just gonna do like a quick... let's go with the black here so we can really see. Do a quick silhouette scribble here. Just so we can get a look. And then there's the head. Yeah, I like the silhouette a lot. I think the only thing, and it kind of, I guess because this is more like Baldur's Gate 3 aesthetics, it might not make sense to go even like bigger on like sort of the fur. I just really like this element of like shoulder fur element. I think provides a lot of like visual contrast to like the sleek rest of the outfit. I really like that element of contrast. And then we got the staff, which again, I like the very thin staff versus the next to the thickness of the shoulders. But I kind of like what it tells me is it looks like a character who's pretty put together largely, but then there's like an element of wildness within them. And so I think playing up that element of wildness of like the wild fur of the shoulders of the cloak could be really fun to do. Like make that be like the one crazy part that gives you a hint of like this, there's an animal inside of this person that they're like, they hold at bay, you know, most of the time. Okay, let's see. Let's talk about body language here. I'm trying to see if there was like more personality traits listed here. Not really. Feel free to tell me like a little more. That is their personality, what I said, that they're kind of like more put together, but then they're like hiding like an inner beast. I feel like you got that pretty well expressed here. Because I feel like there's a nice difference between like the calm standing pose and the getting ready to cast a spell pose. The only thing that maybe could be pushed a little bit that could be fun is if you wanted to go even further with it, you could have like a very and excuse again, my brush is like so messed up. If you wanted to go like very, very prim and proper with sort of the stance, and then you could like maybe something like this, and then you could contrast that with when they're getting angry or when they're in combat, they get like, you know, like totally more like animalistic in the posture. Maybe something like really hunched over and like they're going completely sicko mode with like the fur kind of going crazy. Because you also said they like transform a lot, so there could be like a nice sort of gradation between being more like put together and then being more of a literal animal, where they get more animalistic traits when they're more like emotionally heightened. Could be pretty cool. Protective of friends, generally trying to do the right thing. Yeah, totally. I think that's like a fun angle of like they're like a good character, morally good, but the animal side comes with it like an element of anger. Can be like a righteous anger for sure. And yeah, I really like the costuming and the color palette. I think it really suits. I definitely get like moon druid. If I saw just this picture, I would say that is a moon druid. No doubt in my mind. They're like working with nature. You see the elements of nature on the staff and in like the bird skull. I like the bird skull little talisman as well. You see like these snippets of nature, but they're also a part of like society. They're not like completely wild. So it's kind of the blending of the two worlds. Really nice job on this. Let's move on to the next one. The next one is from Bards Only. Submitting my bird Butch Agnes. Okay, let's check out. Got a couple images here. I just need it to to paste. There we go. Fiacre Studios said, yeah, making his shoulder fur bristles a neat idea, kind of like Studio Ghibli hair. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too. Like it could, the shoulder fur could be like an element of like exhibiting that the character's emotions and personality a little bit. It could be more like down and muted when they're feeling more put together, and then a little more wild and bristled when they're flustered. But let's take a look at Agnes. Really cool, like winged humanoid character. I like the outfit, like motorcycle vibes. Let's see what they said. Thing I'm struggling with the most is settling on a design for her hero suit. I've included an image of her outside the suit. My earliest pass at it. As much as seeing the old art harms me, I get that. And my most recent attempt alongside some of the common writer suits I'm trying to pull visual inspiration from. Struggling to find a balance between visually interesting and plausibly functional. Eventually she'll be getting a mech version as well for big fights, but it's hard to tackle, when I'm not even settled on a base suit. Okay, so we'll primarily look at this one here then. These common writer suits are so sick. And I think you're definitely like on the right page. I do think the place where it's currently suffering the most is in the silhouette. And you can even take a look at these suits you've posted to sort of see where the difference lies. So we're gonna do like a quick draw over here. Maybe I'll do it in red. Because right now, if we silhouette your character minus the wings, because we're just looking at the suit right now, we kind of have like just a straight line up and down. And so if we just looked at the character based on this silhouette without the wings, you can't really tell anything about her from it as it is right now. Whereas if you look at these common writer suits, especially this one down here, since it's easy to see, you've got this sort of like heavy weighted polygon on top. Then you got the little waist. Then you got the bigger belt. Then you got the legs, but they have these things coming off them. And then you got these shapes here. Very like action figure shaped. Then like the thin sort of biceps, and then like the bigger glove gauntlet arms. And then there's stuff also coming off the helmet to provide like visual contrast there. So I think try to pull from these same elements in your design as well. And I think a good way to do that would be to highlight the sort of bird-like features that you want to showcase here. So like for instance, we'll do like a chest silhouette here. We'll kind of go in like a similar direction as these outfits you've shown. They tend to have like bigger chest, smaller waist. I think accentuating the shoulders in some kind of way will definitely help. I think the mask, if you wanted to go even more bird-like with it, you know, you could almost go like plague doctor-y, or like if you wanted more of like a bird-shaped head, could be cool. But if you want to keep it going sort of down the way you have it, you could do like sort of a wing motif, perhaps, if you wanted to. Like wings off the top. Or the shoulders could be like indicative of some wings. And then you could do something like And it sure would be nice if I had pressure sensitivity on my pen. But we're working with what we got today. You could do something like going, there's a couple options I see for legs. You can either go like sort of thin with the thighs. You'll notice that like most of things when you're designing any character is like contrast. Like as you look on the character, you want bits to contrast each other. So if you go thin on the thighs, you could go big on the boots. Thin thighs, big boots. You could do something like big thighs, small boots. Which kind of, that honestly gives me more of a bird vibe, the big thighs, small boots, because that's kind of what birds got going on. Birds kind of have big thighs and small boots, if you think about it. So something like this could be cool. And then like tiny waist, and I will try not to say a round thing in your face, but no promises. Torso can be a little smaller, because then we can go like bigger on the shoulders if we want to. Smaller on the arms. Bigger on the gloves. So something like this. It's like if you go small somewhere, try going big somewhere else that's touching. It makes for like a very eye-catching design. And then we can have helmet. And it could have like the wings kind of going up, or you could have like a plumage sort of vibe. I realize that makes him look like a little jester man right now, but like a bird plumage helmet that goes up like that could be cool. So I think that's kind of primarily where you should look starting out, is like getting a recognizable look without the wings, because the wings do a bit of heavy lifting for the silhouette for sure. But I think even without the wings, the armor should be contrasty enough to carry the design on its own. So that's my feeling on that. I hope that is helpful to you. And we will go on to the next one. We got one here from Xandrew Burt. Always love to see some Xandrew Burt here. Let's see. The frog is Xandrew Burt. Oh my god. Xandrew Burt revealed? Xandrew Burt true form revealed? This is very cute. And then we got a little piece here. Let's copy this. And let's take a look at what you wrote. They recently had a design update, but I'm not feeling 100% happy with it, specifically the color of the pupils. I chose it to be the same shade as the hair color on the ref sheet, but when I do a polished piece, the pupils color feels like it's missing presence. Any ideas on how to draw more focus to those froggy eyes is appreciated. I totally got it. I gotcha. Yeah, the design itself is very cute. I think obviously striking silhouette in that you can just look at this and be like, that's a frog, because of this shape right here is like the most frog shape I've ever seen in my life. Nice pear-shaped body. And this also kind of illustrates my point. You got sort of the round body, and then it tapers into the small legs and the small arms, and that contrast. Big head, small body, but round, and then the straight legs and arms. And then these little designs right here, which is kind of what makes, it's like a little touch like this is kind of what makes people recognize that it's your character. Like it goes from being like, that's just a frog, to being like, oh, that's Xandrubert. Because Xandrubert kind of looks like a frog, but also kind of like an apple. And that's Xandrubert's thing. And it looks like Xandrubert the frog. This is what I would describe as a point of interest, by the way. That's a good point of interest. Costuming is not going to be such a thing because Xandrubert is naked most of the time and can wear whatever they want. So that's going to depend on the piece. But as for like the eyes, I see what you mean in the piece with the eyes looking kind of like flat. I think for me personally, in this piece, the eyes have a look like they're just sort of painted on the head. This is going to be so hard to do without my pressure sensitivity, my beloved pressure sensitivity. But we're going to try. We're going to try. We don't give up here. So I think what you really need in this instance, I'm just going to try to highlight the eyes here to show you. I think you really need to identify the eyeball as a separate shape. I'm going to use, believe it or not, a soft round brush. You obviously do not really use a soft round brush, so you can do it your own way, but this is just to like indicate what I'm thinking. Let's get a multiply layer. Make this the exact size. Hello? Hello? Am I crazy? I'm on the wrong thing. I'm on the wrong thing. I got it. I got it. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm very smart. Jesus Christ. Okay, so we're going to indicate the shape of the eye a bit better here. I can't, as I said, I have no pressure sensitivity, so we are going to do this and then lower the opacity a bit. Maybe apply a bit more. So something like that to indicate that the eye is separate from the dome of the head, because the eyes are like their own domes. Their own domes. And then you could even have some shadow sort of around the eye to indicate like it sits in the skull. And then I think an eye shine of some kind would really go a long way. So we can take like this torch color, make like a glow layer here. Probably we're gonna reduce the shit on that. But some sort of eye shine to be like, this object is wet. This is a wet orb. And it is reflecting the light of the torch. I don't know about your wet orb, but my wet orb reflects the light of the torch, personally. That's just sort of a me thing. And then we'll add a little bit of a shadow to this one as well. So just something like that, I think already makes them pop a lot more, and they look like they're what they are, which is wet orbs. The soft light gradient makes it look like painted clay rather than a real eyeball. Yeah, I know. It definitely does, especially when you have it contrasted with Xandrubert's much more textural style. It looks really funny in contrast, but it's just to illustrate a point. Xandrubert can go back and do this in their own style, add these shadows, and it'll look much better than this. But when you zoom out, you can tell a difference here. I'll show you. If you look at like the flatness of the eyes here, and then how much more they look like eyes that are orbs sitting in the skull with moisture on them rather than just sort of painted on the face. And so you can do it to like whatever extent you feel like you want to that suits your style. But I definitely think it helps draw attention to the eyes for sure. Okay, moving on. Thank you, Xandrubert. Let's get rid of all of that. Next one. This is from somebody. I have to turn off streamer mode. I'm going to try not to dox anyone. Squid's Eye. Let's get this guy in here. Oh, we got a half orc, aka a hot orc. Let's get the hot orc in here. You know I love to see it. And then we got a very dynamic pose here as well. Love the dynamic pose. Okay, let's see what they wrote. Oh, Squid's Eye, you are here, but you're also mid D&D sesh. Honestly, it's impressive that you're here at all while mid D&D sesh. I don't know how you're doing both at once. That's honestly incredible. Okay, this is your D&D character, Ardern Logasio, half orc, half elf ranger, second son of a notorious shipping magnate. Build political alliances to secure business relationships, but he shirks that duty for a life of adventure. He has supernatural charm from an accidental fey bargain with his wife. He's a socialite dandy who's not built for combat, but he's always the first through the door and will jump headfirst into danger at most opportunities. Okay, cool. I feel like based on the personality you've told me, I really get that from this second drawing here. Like, this looks like a socialite dandy who should not be first through the door, but he is, and he's got that sort of like crazed charisma that allows him to get away with it. He has like supreme self-confidence. It's very fun. But let's take a look here. I'm gonna do a little silhouette check, because I feel like there's maybe more we could do. I'm going to get rid of this one for a minute. More we could do to push the character. I didn't mean to desaturate him. I stole the light from his life. There we go. Okay, so looking at the silhouette here, I do really like the silhouette, but I do feel like we're missing some sort of like point of interest. I think the body language is really on point. Like, the body language to me says like, I'm rich and I'm confident, and I'm maybe a little like what's it called when you just like do stuff without thinking? Maybe a little bit of that. But I feel like we're missing something. So let's just like mess around a bit. Impulsive, yes. We'll fix this ear a little bit here and the hair. So I think what I'm looking for is like something that stands out from the silhouette. Because looking at it from here, I feel like this could be like any character. And it's like, how do I know that this is Ardern Logasio? He needs like one element of something. That could be like, I see the hair tied up in a bun. What if there's like one loose strand. One loose strand of hair. I think even something that small could be like all it takes. It's like something that pops out from the silhouette and says, this is a unique element. And I think it also speaks to the character's devil-may-care impulsive attitude. It's like hair pulled back in the bun is like, I'm the rich son of a shipping magnate. The one hair that's out is like, but I'm a little crazy too. I'm a little crazy also. Another potential option you could do is, I was looking at like the glove. Maybe you could glove up Buttercup. Like bigger glove that has some sort of, like flamboyant, like a rich look to it. Maybe it's got like some feathers or something like that. You said they're a ranger, right? So like a feathered glove would not be the craziest thing. Something that says like, I bought all of this gear and money was no option, but I'm like not actually that experienced. I just have like expensive stuff. I think like a boot could even serve that purpose as well if you wanted to go like a boot route. And these are just like, I don't know the details of this stuff I'm adding. It's just like, if I'm looking at the silhouette, what does like my brain crave to see? And it's like something like this, some sort of added thing that jumps out from the silhouette. Like when you're designing, you can also like start with a silhouette like this, or you can do it to your character after you've drawn them and then just be like, what's it feel like it's missing, you know? Feels like it's missing something, but what? And then you can kind of go from there. I'm a really big fan of the loose hair strand. That's kind of my biggest positive vibe on this one so far. So kind of here's like a before and after. I feel like this just looks like, oh, this is a character that I can identify. This character is a little less identifiable to me, but this feels like a character I would know. But other than that, I really liked the body language element. These are more definitely point of interest sort of things that I think you could work on. The costuming will also change depending on what the character is doing. And the color palette is fun too, with the sort of these cool tones, grayish, bluish vibe. I like that a lot. I also like the fancy shoes in this one. The fancy shoes really sells the rich kid persona. Yeah, this one silhouette-wise is a lot stronger because of the scepter and the necklace. So stuff like that, I think really lean into that for sure. But I really like it. I think it's very cool, and thank you for sharing it with us. I'm gonna go to the next one and see, like, you know, what are the odds of like actually doing all these in the normal time frame of a stream. Okay, these are very interesting because these kind of defy convention for these things I put here, so we'll have to approach them from a different perspective. These are from Bloom Crane. Very cool and interesting art style here. Because it's like this, you've informed me this is a character, but is it a character in a way that it's like a Lovecraftian sort of horror of a character where it's like, I can't comprehend its form in a very cool way. I see you in chat, Bloom Crane. These are meant for a black and white comic. That's awesome. Yeah, I think these are really sick. Let me read what you wrote here. They're not character sheets, they're more polished drafts of the characters. The first one you designed earlier, so it went through more iterations, while the second one is your first draft and you are not happy with the design. Okay. So the first one is the librarian, a being made out of clay. It shifts in shape and is extremely intelligent. So I think this thing looks awesome. This thing on the left. I feel like I can't really give you character design notes on this because it is an ever-changing amalgam of shapes and parts, but I think it's sick. That's what I'll tell you about it. I really like the eyelash vibe here, and like the spikes and hair, and all this shape work is really good. But the Admiral, I think we can definitely work on. The first and only attempt of the conglomerate to reverse engineer the clay. We got some terms in here. We got some fantasy terms. The resulting artificial human far surpasses the tactical abilities of any known thinker and perhaps even the council. The Admiral spearheads the effort to eradicate the enemy, taking control of the conglomerate fleet. Okay, so this guy is like a construct, like an artificial human construct that is meant to be designed for tactics. So it's not like a combat character. It's like a tactical thinker type of character, if I'm understanding correctly. Because I feel like there's definitely more we could do with that. Because currently, the current design to me does not read as like thinker. It reads as like he's going to like, a panel in the wall is going to open up and he's going to step out and like rip me clean in half. That's sort of the vibe I get right now. So let's have a think. Let's be thinkers and think about what we could maybe do differently here. Because again, I really like the shapes and the shape work. He's also meant to be strong, but struggling with his nature. Okay, interesting. I think first thing that I can think of is, believe it or not, the silhouette. So let's get rid of some of this. Because similar to an earlier critique, I'm getting very like straight up and down vibes. If I ever could click the layer, this is kind of like the general shape of the guy. And so I think the shape language, especially since he's artificial, the shape language could be like way more dynamic, I think. Because you're not like inhibited by human anatomy either. So I'm kind of thinking like, I'm really drawn to these head tubes. So what if we did a shape language? I'm going to go big here so we can do sort of a, like, would it make sense to do something that's more like big triangle? Like, would it make sense for it to be top heavy if he's also designed for combat? So that we can get some of these, like, this energy here. I don't know if this makes him look too strong. Then we could have, like, head here. And we could really get some of these tubes like around. Maybe we'll do like a couple iterations here. But the cool thing about like a non-human character is like the arms can be really long, like this. The feet can be kind of like bird talon-y or something. Because it could like have facets of like other bits of stuff. He can shapeshift a bit. Okay, that's interesting. And then this could be like, I like this tube crown sort of vibe. Gives him a very regal look. Obviously all of this stuff would be done like with your shapes. This is just like indicating potential silhouette options. Another angle you could take is that you could really lean towards sort of like the tall, thin look. Inverse knees, that could be cool too. One sec, let me get more of like a humanoid shape here, and then we'll work off of that. But I was thinking if he's more like a thoughtful kind of guy, then, you know, maybe he's shape-shifted in such a way that combat is not a focus, but like being lightweight is more the focus. I don't know why I keep giving him bird feet. I just think that's kind of sick. Feel free to ignore that. Because we could even do like, oh, what if the legs are like super long? Hold on. Hold on. Let's have a thought. Let's have a thought. What if it's like really, because he looks like, he gives very tall vibes. Is he very tall? Maybe he's kind of like tall and skeletal, but with these like protrusions of tube protrusions. I kind of like this angle you got going on where the tubes sort of form the pelvis. And then you got like stuff like this. But I want to make the this smaller. Maybe he's like a real long leg, small torso. So then you could have, and like long arms. Maybe he's more like movement based rather than I think what I'm really getting at here, the more I talk about this, is that pushing these proportions I think would be really fun for like pushing the angle of like, this is like an alien thing. It's not a person, it's like different. Bloomcrane said, these are all cool suggestions. In my mind, he was shaped to be like a human by humans, but he maybe elevates his design above simple humans. That could be a cool angle. Like, I totally get if you want to go more straight up and down humanoid to like represent being as human as possible. But I also think it is a fun angle to say, well, if he's, you know, the greatest tactical thinker ever created and he's smarter than humans, maybe he starts like adjusting himself to whatever his purpose is, like whatever makes it easier for him to achieve his purposes. He could adjust his body over time, slowly getting less and less human as he realizes he is the extent of his differences. You know what I'm saying? And you can still like, since Jigokuro said less human makes it easier to be unique, but might not be correct for the story. That's a really good point. But I think with like things like long limbs, you can get a lot of like big gesture and like movement. So you can actually indicate a lot of humanity through very inhuman designs, as long as it has the elements that humans relate to, which is like a head and like the general sort of stuff a human has. You can mess with the proportions any way you want. And then sort of as long as all of those parts are still there, people will still relate to what they're looking at if it's moving in a human-like way. But, you know, moving in a less and less human-like way as time goes on is also a cool angle. As the Admiral sort of separates itself from the confines of humanity. But yeah, super cool artwork. I really like your stippling style. I think it's really awesome. The story seems really, really neat and interesting. So good luck on working on it, and I hope this was helpful for you. And we will move on to the next one. Next one we got is Amanda Panda. We got some magical girls here. You posted a lot of images. I'm just going to take the ones of them in their magical girl outfits to look at here. Very fun designs here. So let's take a look. And then I will take a sip of water because my throat is destroying itself from talking too dang much. Okay, let's get them all in here. Soccer Kitty 24 Ham in chat. That's me. Yes, the other outfits were supplemental as ways to add personality. I do appreciate that, and I will be looking at them as supplemental information. So thank you for that. Okay, let's read about these characters. Long-time lurker, first-time patron. Thank you so much for being a patron for the first time. We appreciate it. Glad we get to look at your work today. Magical girls who meet and have adventures at summer camp in the Appalachian Mountains. Love that idea. Hope to make a comic with them someday. Though at this time, they've ended up functioning more as digital paper dolls. Love to hear feedback on how they work as a set as well as individuals. I wanted to unify them with elements of classic magical girl fashion as well as scout clothing. The conflicts in the story will involve some combat. I'd love to hear first impressions of them based on their designs. Any additional comments? So we got Blue, who is a shy bookworm who loves science. We got Green, who is a sociable horse girl who loves nature. We got Pink, who is a jock who does running and lifting weights. And we got Purple, who is goth and punk inspiration, the most outgoing and attention-seeking and a bit rebellious. Xandrew Bird's got the eyeballs on Purple. Yeah, let's take a look. I really like these designs from the outset. I really like, most of all, your costuming. I think is very cool here because they each have like unique costume elements, but still has like a sort of scout, like a magical girl scout vibe. I think including the little scout thing, is a really smart idea. So right off the bat, really enjoying that. Let's talk about some things we could improve maybe. I know that these poses don't include body language, so it kind of makes it difficult to express personality through the body language. So we can't really critique that here. But we can talk about some character silhouette stuff, which I think will be fun. Right off the gate here, I feel like your Blue character has the strongest silhouette image. So let's take a look at why that works, and then we will talk about what we could maybe do with some of the other ones. We'll just get rid of that for now. Let me copy this first. Duplicate. And then I keep doing that. Don't desaturate it. Yeah, so I think blue has a really cool silhouette as a result of the shoulders and the cloak. And the hat. You got a really cool thing going on with like the hat and the hair, which makes for like a fun head shape that's very unique. And then the shoulders that go down into the cloak. And then the little legs coming out of the cloak. This is like exactly what I've been talking about the whole time, with like the way you've created contrasting shapes using the shape language of the character. You've essentially got a character who's like this. Like circle on top. Then you got like a sort of, what's this, a trapezoid? Parallelogram? We'll call it a circle that you stuck on a triangle. And then from the triangle, you've got a longer triangle, giving like a cloaked vibe, which I really enjoy. And then you got the little legs coming out the bottom, which provides like a nice visual distinction. So this is a very fun shape, and I approve. I do think, however, that some of these other characters they need like some other element to their shape that makes them stand out. So let's try to figure some of that out. We'll go over here to pink next. Because I definitely suspect, yeah. So pink's shape, if you even just looking at them side by side, like look at the shape language here and then look at the shape language here, it's a lot less defined. You can tell that this is like a muscular character, but beyond that, it's a bit difficult to glean any information. I think what could be fun to do with the silhouette of the character, because I feel like it's important to the character to have the arms out and like the arms in the waist area to be like, this is a character who is strong and lifts heavy objects. That definitely needs to be there. I think what you could do to make that stand out a little more is make this part here like a little bigger, perhaps. Widen this out to go lower. And I think that's going to really highlight make a contrast with the upper body and the lower body, if that makes sense. So then this is one big shape. And so your eyes are drawn to the area with the most distinction, which is the upper body, which is kind of what you want people to be focused on. And then like within that shape, obviously with this character, you've got the costuming elements I really like. You've got the exercise shorts and the high socks. You could keep all that just how it is. I think you can just bring down the cloak element to the sides. And it can go behind the character's legs so that you're still seeing like the bit of leg you want to see. And I think that would really be cool. Another thing I think would be cool, similar to what I've talked about before, is like a hair element. Because you got this sort of pushed up swoopy hair. I think if you pushed it up a little taller so that it comes in front of the hat, there's like a bit of it that comes in front of the hat like this. And we get a larger silhouette of that hair. I think that could be a good way to... a wispy of hair that flies away is like a really powerful silhouette tool for character identification purposes. Let me take that away. So yeah, I think something like that would be really cool. If you even wanted to play with like like the shoulders a bit more. If you wanted to do anything to highlight the shoulders, you could go like this angle, but that's pretty cool actually. I think what this class is going to come down to ultimately is me encouraging people to play with their character silhouettes a bit more and just like put them in just like black like this or whatever color, and then just mess with the silhouette to see like what looks interesting, what highlights the elements of the character that I want people to see. So I think that makes the character look a lot more distinct and more in line with this silhouette over here, if that makes any sense. Similar vibe, I think, with this character. Again, I really like the costuming choices. I think you've nailed the costuming. Like the tassels and the boots with the tassels, I think are very fun. I think just looking at it, can I ever click the right thing? Do you think it's like possible? There we go. Just looking at it, I can already see what I'm thinking. Let's crank that down. Yes, really like the tassel elements here. I think that's something you could even play up a bit if you wanted to for the sake of the silhouette. You could have them kind of come out a bit more and be more obvious. I think that will make it like really clear which character you're looking at with some larger tassels. Like if you got tassels, may as well make them some big tassels. Some other things you could do. Let me take a look at the character again. I got pretty straight hair with the braid. The braid does provide a nice element, but it's behind the character, unfortunately. If you wanted to mess with like bringing the braid around front, that could provide like an asymmetric distinction. You could also go with something like a little piece of hair. You ever heard of this one? You ever heard of this one? A little piece of hair? Could even be symmetrical pieces of hair on either side. I also really like these not gloves, but the rolled up sleeves. I think those could potentially be heightened as well. You could also trying to get my layers in order here. If you wanted to go for more like the horse rider corseted look, you could even cut in a little bit on like the waist. Not to be like, you know, oh, make it like a sexy hourglass figure, but more to be like, the horse riders usually wear like those like corseted shirts, don't they? So you could kind of go for that vibe too if you wanted. These are all just options. Things I think that just make the characters, when you just look at them from like this view, like when you see them this far away, you want to be like, oh, I know who all of these are because I can see immediately which characters they are. Looking at it this way too, I feel like the green character might have a too similar of like a body type to the pink character. Although I think their height differential is probably pretty big. So that might make up for a lot of it as well. But don't be afraid to be like really stout up a character or really like really skinny up a character or really big up a character. Don't be afraid to go big. Okay, that's probably... Yeah, I still have a good bit more. So hopefully that gives you like the idea of what I'm talking about. I do think, like I said before, you've done a really good job with the costume design and like the little interesting elements of their costumes that kind of tell you a bit about their character. I think the punk goth character could be goth punked up more for sure. You know, like heavier makeup, some more like pieces of jewelry, or some more like maybe asymmetrical elements, or some more like what is it, like goth Lolita fashion elements, like frills, fringes, stuff like that. If you want to really sell like the goth vibe, that could be a way to go as well. But yeah, really cool stuff. Good luck on developing this world and making it into a comic and whatever you want to do with it. I think it's awesome. Okay. Let's move on to the next one here. We got Bloodbender64, who I know I've seen in chat. I have an idea. Let's get the image here first. I think this is a very fun concept for sure. Let's see. I have an idea for a crossing guard paladin type character that I'm still in the exploration phase of. These are the iterations I have so far. All try to incorporate safety high-vis motifs. 1 and 2 tend more towards a more classic knight. 2 tries to incorporate more padding into some of the protective gear. Because I imagine the character should be mainly fighting cars. That's a really funny idea. I like that. 3 leans the closest to modern crossing guard. 4 is my current favorite. That design takes inspiration from the Landsknecht. I don't think I know what that is. If we're pressed for time, feel free to just focus on 4. I thought showing all of them would be good for compression. Really, really fun idea. And I like this a lot. So you're thinking 4 is the fire sword for fighting cars. Their thumbnails and they're fun focused. I really love this whole concept. I think what we're gonna want to do with this one, a little different than the others, is I think this is a good time to look at some reference. Let's collect us some reference. Crossing guard. Because I got some ideas right out the gate here. So let's get some crossing guards. I feel like an element that's gotta be around here is the big vest. Then what else do they have? Don't they have like the glowing sticks? Oh, here's a good example of like a high-vis hat. I feel like this will be helpful. I want to see the glowing stick. Do crossing guards not have the glowing sticks? Is that only the people who like who make planes land? Traffic cone. Traffic cone would be good. Let's get some traffic cone. That's a bad image. I just want a traffic cone. Here we go. And then anyone can purchase a glowing stick online. You know what I'm talking about. Crossing guard Glowing stick. Yeah, they got a glowing stick sometimes. Here's one right here. Except I don't think this is a crossing guard because this person appears to have a gun. I don't know if crossing guards are typically packing like this. Okay, so let's get into it here. Gotta bring this back up. Because I really like the ideas you got going here. And I think there's elements from all of them that we could use. And I want to talk about some like strengths and weaknesses here. Okay. Because I feel like with design 1, the thing I like the most is you clearly have incorporated the vest. I feel like the vest has got to be there, and the vest as a tabard, like a knight's tabard, I think is a very powerful image. Number 2, I think, has the most crossing guard vibes with like the stop sign shaped shield, I think is really good. And then this evokes the vest for sure, but it's like padded, like you said. 4, I think, is really cool, but I'm not getting crossing guard as powerfully from it. But I like some of the angles you've gone with here. So maybe I'll just try to do like a little iteration and we can just like play around with it a bit. Because I think this is such a fun idea. Oh, I should have read your second message too here. Still unsure about the torso armors. You're developing an eye for seeing how it sits on the body. You also think they could be wielding a fire sword or something like the Jaws of Life or a spinning saw. This is all very fun. I love this idea. Okay. I want to try incorporating elements from like all of these. Because here's kind of where I'm at on it. Let's just get, man, I wish I could draw normally. What a world that would be, huh? Let's do this. And obviously my style will be a little different from yours, but you can kind of see where I'm headed with this. I definitely like the idea of like a big shouldered knight look. This is not Mickey Mouse, shut up. I also really like the knight's like collar thing. I think that's very indicative of a knight. And because they're like a crossing guard, maybe like big proportions, small head, because like their head and face don't matter so much, right? And then I'm thinking like, what about traffic cone-esque hat? Almost like a witch's hat, but it's traffic cone vibes. There could be a cone motif to the shoulders as well that could be fun. I'm leaning way cartoony on this, but this is like stuff that hopefully will inspire you to play around a bit. Then let's get a little waist in here. The vest I definitely want. I might have to indicate that later, unless we do like, oh, this could be cool. Open vest. These are not arms. This is an open vest that feeds into the legs. I feel like legs on something like this should be like big. Like big stout. Because he's like, I am standing firm. and I will not be moved. So maybe like big legs, like night boot sort of vibe. Standing resolute. I feel like stop sign shield is like really powerful imagery too. Big hand. I'm seeing like also maybe like you said like pole arm could be good. Because pole arm could be stop sign-esque as well. If you wanted to go that route. Like could be like a big mace, like a big stop sign mace. Or like like you said, a spinning saw, like a stop sign spinning saw. Could be really fun. And the other hand could have like the little light wand thing that like casts little spells. It's not a carrot, it's the light wand. Can't you see how it's lighting up? Maybe something of like this angle? It's not a carrot, it's a light wand. But yeah, thinking like striped helmet with the traffic cone vibe. Hidden face. I saw a lot of crossing guards that had like coats on because it's like cold. My freaking pencil's not working at all. Then we could have, let me pull back up the image of the vest. That's not the vest. Because then you said like paladin, so I'm kind of thinking of something like in between the high vis vest and also like a holy sort of like that thing that the priests wear. It looks like a scarf, but it's not. It's like vestments, like holy vestments. So maybe they have like high vis holy vestments that are like this with the high vis tape. Aside from just having fun, I think that the main thing to take from this is like if you want to do like a combination idea like this, just pull up like as much reference of both things as you can and then just be like, what elements could I take of like each thing that I think would go well with this, and kind of see where your mind wanders with it. It's fun. And then we got like the traffic-y cone-esque shoulders, which can carry the stripes as well. Don't you want to have fun? Then maybe there's like this part of the pants is like big trousers with like the high vis stripes on them. And they're tucked into knight's greaves. Oh, this is fun. Man, drawing's pretty fun. Y'all know, did y'all know this? Get like bring back like the safety stripe motif on the shoes. I shouldn't have spent so much time on this. Anyways, you get what I'm getting at here. It's like, don't be afraid to look at the whole spectrum of possible inspiration you could use. This is not a carrot, it is a light. And then take liberally from everything and just start like mashing up stuff and throwing it together. Stop sign. Spinning. Stop sign saw. Saw mace type thing. Maybe it's got like the sigil of their order is like the hand. This is like their holy sigil. Maybe this is like a crossing guard zealot or something. Anyways, that's sort of the vibe I was getting. Again, this is a very different style. You're going for a much more naturalistic style. But my goal here was to be like, think about the different elements you can combine and then like roll them into your style and like make it work with your thing. Because paladins, they've got that holy purpose thing, so you got to get those holy elements in there of being like pious or maybe even like zealotry. Like there's that obsession, there's like the holy symbols and trinkets and icons and all that stuff. And then you got the stuff with the knights and the armor, and then you got the bits of the crossing guard stuff in there too. I feel like you know, your next iteration, I think you're really gonna rip it. But super fun idea. I love the concept. And thank you for sharing it with us. Appreciate it very much. Okay, 437. We're gonna do it. The next one is from Kit Talks. It's like TikToks for kittens. Let's get this character in here. Very fun, wild design here with this one. I really like this little guy right here. What is it with the zipper? I guess I'll probably find out. It's something in a costume. Kit Talk said, I've been working on an anthology-like story for a while. The setting is modern/fantasy, and this is the main character of the main story arc, Sakura Churitsu. Key things about her that I believe can have a visual element: loves dancing, vitiligo in the face, has a slight deformity of the left eye, has a pet sentient plush pangolin named Epi, and she has a connection with two deities represented in her hair color and face marks. Also should say that she is a creature race I made up for my world. Okay, cool. Let's take a look here. I think we'll focus on this stand up over here because this is going to be the easiest one to do. So let me copy this out. So we can have it by itself. I really love the pangolin plush. Okay, first things first. You know I'm going to talk about the silhouette here because I feel like there's a lot of pushing we could do. I feel like there's like lots of fun stuff to look at once you're looking at the character, but in terms of silhouette, we can go even further beyond. So let's take a look at it. We'll try to erase out some of these lines here. Next time I'm making sure my tablet works properly, 100%, before I start stream. I think when I turn it back on, I have to make sure to restart the computer after that point. Okay. Get the polyline tool. Let's do a better job at selecting with the polyline tool by holding Alt so we don't accidentally do what I just did. Get all the stuff. Get rid of the gray areas. I deleted everything. Try again. If at first you don't succeed. And we get rid of this part. Okay. Now we can take a look. Because I feel like this character's got a lot of elements that can be played with. If we mess with the silhouette a bit. Because you're going to notice a trend here for sure, which is that we've got a very up and down sort of silhouette here. It's kind of like a rectangle. And I think there's things we need to pop to really sort of make this work. One thing is she's got really, really long hair, like all the way down to the backs of her knees. So I feel like that element we can really, you can push that out quite a bit. You can get like a little bit on top here that's a little bit, sticks out a little bit more. And then like this stuff on the side, I would make this like way bigger personally. Use the hair as like a silhouette element. Because it even comes like way down here. Like you could bring this out more. We don't want it to look like a tail or anything, but it could even like evoke that if we wanted it to. But yeah, showing the hair in the silhouette I think is really going to help. I feel like something on the arm, because there is something on the arm. Yes, there are armbands. Give the armband just a little bit more juice so that it pops in the silhouette. Juice those bands so that it stands out a little bit. I think the feet element is the strongest part of the silhouette because it's really interesting. This is, you said this is like a creature race that you made up. So I assume she has like these sort of like kangaroo feet going on. And so that really stands out down there to me. I think we could, there's like a cloak in the back as well. So, you know, feel free to go a little bigger with the cloak to make more of a triangle shape, or like a, you know, like a half moon shape down here. And we'll start getting like a silhouette that looks a bit more recognizable as like a singular character. If you had a way to get something, some sort of flyaway element, maybe it could be like, trying to think of a good spot for it to go. My brain just wants like something I'm thinking back to like the loop from that other character. A little loopy, a little like bow sort of vibe, something that flies out, I think would really go a long way. I don't know your character as well as you do, so it's hard for me to make that sort of call, but something like that I think would be really cool. And then let's also take a look at I wanted to talk about the face, because I know you said that they've got the vitiligo and also the face marks. I think there's getting to be some visual confusion in the face. The vitiligo is like kind of hard to see, so you might want to make that more like more of a distinct color from the existing skin tone. But then I think with the marks on the face, and again, it's hard for me to say because I don't know the character, but with the triangle and these things, I feel like the shapes are too different and it's making it very busy feeling. I don't know if they like both need to be there for the story to work, but if it were me, I would probably take one out. So leave like just the marks on the side or just the triangle. Because there's a downside with points of interest, which is that if you have too many points of interest, it becomes very confusing visually, and it's hard to like latch on to a single element. Another thing you could do is put like the skin discolorations in like a specific location. Maybe the skin discolor, because you said the character has like a duality. So maybe they're like on this side of the face, and then you have the marks on the other side of the face. Could be a potential way to approach it. Sometimes you just want to like try to separate visual elements that are busy so that you have like a more distinct look to the character. So these are just things you can think about. Like you don't have to do exactly what I say, obviously, but it's things to consider because it can help make for a much cleaner visual that people can remember more easily. And you can still like get all the elements in, but like picking where you place them, I think can make a big difference for sure. But really cool character though. I like the idea. I like the colors, and like this costume is wild. It's like a dress shirt with like a front slit. Like it looks like sort of a future piece of clothing that like does not exist yet. I think that's pretty sick. But thank you so much for submitting. We're going to move on to the next one. Okay, this one is from Pen Liditist. They had a body horror warning on the first image, so I won't show that one. I guess this one kind of has some body horror too, but not as much. This is a cool design. That is how you pronounce it? Nice. I nailed it. I really like your art style. And I think, you know, not everyone approaches character design the same way. A lot of people do like sort of the more character sheet with like the height and like a sort of neutral pose. But I think this is the one so far for me that has hit the body language marker like the strongest. Like I get an impression just from these poses and the way that the character is standing. I don't know anything about them yet, but I already get a lot of vibes from this. I think that's really cool. Let's see what you said. This is Styx, 19, they, them, freelance curse breaker and general spellcaster. They're one of the most powerful spellcasters in the area, but are somewhat ostracized due to their willingness to transfigure their body. For example, giving up color vision for a magical third eye that can see through illusions, among other things, and giving up their voice for their throat mouth that can consume magic. That's really cool. I like the body mod angle to that. Gaining magic through body modification is pretty cool. They like dressing in more alternative styles, but they try to stick to purple and black due to their color blindness. Sometimes they fail at that. They're generally pretty stoic, not showing a lot of emotion, but they do like to snark. And they aren't great with strangers or big crowds, becoming rather timid. Their goal is to gain more magical power and become well-known so they don't have to worry about things like rent, but they're ultimately good-natured at heart and will act against those goals if other people truly need them to. They have 2 cats, don't have any specific areas I want critique on, so general comments would be appreciated. Yeah, sure. I want to get in here and look a little bit closer. This is really funny. The clashing colors because of the color blindness. Really like your face work here. It's like a very distinctive face, which I really like. I love a character with a distinctive nose. And they talk through the phone because they can't talk through their throat. Yeah, this is really sick. I really like this character. I don't know how many notes I'm gonna have. This is like one that I see and I'm like, I think this is really good. Let's talk about, you have them in different outfits, but I think the outfits you have them in are very strong silhouette wise, and maybe I'll talk about why I think that is the case. Because you have like this outfit, which I love the asymmetry vibe. It's like boxy rectangle up top. But then you've got like the long bit and the short bit here. Anything with like asymmetry like this is a recipe, along with like the slit on the arm, is a recipe for being interesting. Visually, interesting and memorable. Because then you got more leg here. The off the shoulder is really good too. And then you got this one here, which exemplifies some of the other stuff that we've been talking about. Which is having like small torso, big pants. You go for like a tighter angle on the torso so that you can really separate the shoulders and arms. And then you go for the larger look on the pants. This is an exaggeration, but this is one of the many ways you can create contrast, and I feel like you've done a good job of that here. The hairstyle also, I think, does a good job of creating a good silhouette. You got the bits that fly out, and then you got the bits that are shaved in. So it's like a unique hairstyle look, makes for a unique shape. You kind of get a shape like if this is the head here. Let me use a different color, maybe. That would be smart. But this kind of shape, which is a very notable and interesting shape. And so you would see it and like know who that character is, as opposed to this character who's got more of this kind of shape. So that's good work for sure. Do I have anything to critique about this? I feel like I got what you were going for. Like I got like sort of the snark antisocial vibe, like the loner, powerful loner, antisocial. But of course, heart of gold, as they must have. I think the only thing I'm like missing, maybe from this sheet at least, is the element of like timidity. Like you said that they're not great with strangers or big crowds, becoming rather timid. I feel like it would be cool for, you know, a sheet like this to show an example of that, like, because these all read very confident to me. These read like confident, stoic, and self-assured. But I'm seeing less of like the timid, maybe socially anxious side. I think that would be fun to see as well. More of like that hiding away kind of vibe. So it could be a fun angle to explore in like future pieces. And see kind of that like weakness side. This presents a lot of strength, but it's cool to see like the weakness parts as well, I think. I think this is sick though. I really like it. I love the art style. I think you did a great job. I want to see more of this character. I want to know more about this character. This is your second character sheet of them recently that put a lot more emphasis on timidity. So you're already on it. You already know what you're doing. You know, you don't need my help. Who am I? I'm just some asshole. But for real, great work. I really like this. I'm sorry I don't have more like constructive criticism. I think you're just on a really good path. Feels like you know what you're doing. So that is my constructive criticism, is to move forward with confidence and power. All right, let's get the next one. Okay, gonna try to move a little faster here. We're getting there though. There's only like 5-ish more. This one is from Hollis Leaf. Let's get the image in here. Very cute one. Tally ho. All right, let's read about Tally. First time Patris? Try again, Jacob. First time patron and DrawClass attendee, but here we go. Meet Tally, they, he. Real name Dantalion, fake name Talent. So they largely go by Tal or Tally. He's a rogue type, part charlatan and part adventurer, just a real scamp who's always looking for an easy buck and a quick thrill. Big plans that never go right, but somehow get a decent outcome. He's got the little buddy who's the lemur cat fox kind of deal, who's a very powerful shape-shifting spirit. Okay, let's see. Based on a fantasy series idea. Just reading over real quick. About half his design is consciously made, the other half is unconsciously made, which is probably why I kind of hate it. He's new and I don't like this design. I'm not super attached to any aspect of it. I feel like it's a bit boring and definitely not as cohesive as I'd like. I went basic because I intended this design to be him at the beginning of his story, but I went too basic. Eventually I imagine getting him some sick demon powers. Maybe I could tweak something to hint at that. Any ideas you have for fun changes from a different color palette, different hairstyles? Okay. Cool, let's take a look. I mean, I think this is a pretty fun design out the gate. So I don't dislike it, I think, probably as much as you do. I do definitely get like the fun loving aspect from like the pose. I think this is great pose work here. It's sort of like the oh, who, me? Did I cause a big problem? Let's talk about, I feel like there's got to be something we could do, maybe outfit wise. I do like the outfit. I agree with you. It feels like he's missing like something, like some element. I feel like he's almost there, but he's missing some element that makes him like really feel unique. And I'm trying to think of what that element is, because there's nothing I explicitly dislike about the design. I wonder if... Let's just mess around, huh? Let's mess around and see. Feels like he's missing a point of interest. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I really like the thing you were talking about with eventually getting some sick demon powers. And I think there's always a really fun angle, character angle I like, which is sort of fun-loving, bumbling character, but they have like they're like hiding something. They're hiding a dark secret. In this case, it could be like a demonic mark of some kind. Maybe you could add like an element like that, where it's like, let's just mess around a bit here. This was like my first thought. And this is kind of out of nowhere, so, you know, feel free to disregard. But I was thinking about, like, what if he's got, like, some sort of fucked up arm that he keeps covered? I love a character that keeps something covered all the time, and then you figure out later, like, what it is. Maybe there's some sort of, like, demonic mark or something. Bloodbender says the thing that catches my eye the most is the sagging part of the sleeve by the armpit. That's kind of why I'm thinking of this, because I'm kind of thinking of, what if we have a, good lord, what if we introduce an element of asymmetry here? Because you got these baggy sleeves, and so I know I started one drawing and then abandoned it, but, you know, hear me out. So I like this element of, like, there's one arm that has the baggy sleeve, and then the other arm is, like, clearly like tucked into a thing. Maybe like a tall glove of some kind, but something that gives like a thick and thin sort of vibe. But I think it's cool when you have a character who's really, like, maybe bubbly's not the word, but, like, sort of an outgoing adventurous type who's, like, devil may care once again, but then they've got, like, something kind of scary. So maybe it could be something like this. Because I really like this thing you got up top. If I could ever have the right brush, that would be insanely cool. I like this thing. I think this thing is great. I like this sort of corset, waist corset double belt situation, I think is really cool. Maybe you could go a little bigger with the bottom of this to just to give a little more contrast. Because I do get kind of like a semi-androgynous, like flamboyance sort of vibe as well. I think it is what it's missing is just like that one element of like edginess. Like he needs like a touch of edge. And it doesn't have to be a fucked up arm. But like one touch of edge, I think would like really make him like perfect to me. To me, they are perfect sort of situation. I like the high boots as well. So fucked up arm could definitely be a way. Let me get some hair on here too. And the horns. Or maybe it could be something that's like a connection to like this fella. Maybe it's like a spectral arm, like a spiritual arm. Because didn't you say that this is like a shape-shifting spirit? Maybe like some part of their bond could be, I realize I'm just like straight up spitballing lore for your character right now, but I also just find it really fun to talk about this stuff. Maybe part of their bond involves like a sacrifice of like a portion of him, and that portion could be like the arm that he has to keep covered because it is spectral. But then like having a spectral arm and also would probably be good for like stealing shit. Could be a good thieving tool. But it's always nice to have a cool thing to reveal. Hi, Olive. Olive, we're talking about spectral arms. Can you go away? And then how do you feel? How do you feel about asymmetrical cloak? Asymmetrical cloak tied to this thing. This arm could even still be in a glove like this. Oh, I'm kind of liking this vibe. Maybe cloak could be a little tattered to hint at like how the character gets into some shit. So they're put together, but they've got like this tattered element on top of like the sort of pieced together outfit. That could be fun too. Anyways, that's kind of all I got with this one. I think it's a really fun design and a good drawing. And I think really all you need is just to come up with like the one thing that like makes him be like, this is his unique piece, his point of interest. Where when you see it, you know it's him because he's got the one thing. Could be a fucked up arm. Could be, you know, anything else. But I do think that is what it was missing. And I wish you the best of luck with future endeavors on this character. He's really cool. Okay. Let's get on to the next one. This one's from Ribbon Road. I recognize this art style. I remember it from the last art critique class that we did. We got Ken Hoshino up in here. It's my awesome son, Ken. Not a real character. She just threw random art of him down onto one canvas. He's the protagonist of his story. Teens go to school and save the world type beat. Goes to Magic World, fights monsters. He's kind of a loser fail boy protagonist. Oh no. He has basically no friends at the start. He's always embarrassing himself, but he's driven and kind. And good at fighting monsters. Here's the things you've been struggling with. He's a loser failboy protagonist, and I'm worried he accidentally is falling into the territory of like Deku, My Hero Academia, who is a loser protagonist that I see most people just straight up dislike. Like, he does also grow and improve as a person, but I don't want to immediately turn people off. Someone like Okaroon Dandadan is a loser boy protagonist that I like a lot, but I'm not sure what the special sauce to keep a good loser to likable ratio is. Oh, that's interesting. Loser to likable ratio. He's also meant to be a little boring aesthetics wise, so I've been consistently just drawing him in a plain school uniform with the one character relevant accessory. But he's probably gonna have to show up wearing casual clothes. Don't know how to create a casual wear look that carries the general normal plain boy vibes, but also isn't just egregiously boring. Okay, so a lot to talk about here. We're talking about how to make a loser boy vibe that isn't boring. I do really like the overall outfit. I think that's very cute. But as you mentioned here, the overall outfit is probably not something he would wear until like deeper into his character arc. Okay. Let's do some talking about it. Because I feel like right now this is a very cute character, but I don't know if like the loser energy, if the loser energy like jumps out at me straight away. I definitely get like a cute character vibe, but I don't know if I feel loser. So I'm trying to think of like, how can we loser him up a bit? I feel like you mentioned Okaroon Dandadan, and that's like, I think a lot of this comes down to like a body language thing. Like but I guess I have to ask too, like, is he a loser in the same way as like an Okaroon, where he's like shy and bullied and picked on? Or is he like outgoing and positive and talkative, but then just like fucks up and is a dork? Because that'll kind of change the vibe a lot. Just gonna start messing around with some ideas here while I wait for your response. Can't draw shit cause my shit don't work. My shit don't work. Because I definitely, if we're going in a more loserly direction, something you could do he's outgoing and positive, but tends to fuck up often, like a little too forward with people who clearly don't want to chat. And at school, he's ostracized because of a rumor about him, but not something he did. Okay, so he is outgoing and positive. Okay. I do get that impression then. Because I was going to go like in some sort of direction, like a shyer direction, maybe like a one eye covered sort of vibe with the eye bags, because that's very important. This is clearly not the vibe of your character though. This would be a different type of character. Because if he's not shy, then you don't want to cover an eye. You don't cover an eye for a not shy guy. That's what I'm always saying. So let's take that away. I can't have another hair cover eye character because there's already too many in the story. You're a person after my own heart, for sure. I'm wondering if there's a way if we can like dork up. There's some element like that I'm struggling with, which is that like the character's so cute and like pretty. And I'm like, how do we make him less cute and pretty? Is there a way to dork up the hair? Because the hair is very like, you know, like, it is like mushroomy, which I like. But they're just so cute. Could we do like, let me rough in a character here so we can mess around. Do you think we could make it like maybe messier? Let's see. But it is important for him to be pretty and cute. Oh my God, you're making this task impossible, Ribbon. So I was thinking like if we did like a like a little flip. That looks so stupid. That's really funny. Little flip maybe, like it's a little like messier. Is there an element where it could be like messier and then at some point it could like as part of the story or whatever, it could get like less messy? But sort of like messy little freak kind of vibes. Or you could go, as someone mentioned, like a stronger bowl cut vibes. That could be fun. Like if the bowl was more straight, and then it changes later, kind of like Okaroon's does. Because like Okaroon starts off with the with the sort of like nerd hair, but then it becomes like the really cool undercut hair. He's not so much real. He's like a fake guy. I see. I see. So he probably wouldn't have a bowl cut then. Okay, hold on. Let's think about this. I want to give you like some sort of answer, although I do need to move on soon. But he needs to have like something so that you can progress him physically. So he can start off like looking one way and then like look a different way as he improves. I feel like that's always like an important angle. Maybe there's something about him that's slightly uncanny. I like that angle, Bloodbender 64. I think that's cool. Is there a way you could like strange him up a little bit in a way where people would be uncomfortable? Uncomfortable with him? Like, I do kind of like to draw his eyes slightly odd. Maybe you could play that up a little bit, because I like the tired eye angle. Let's just see. Get some eyes here. Maybe you could make them like, maybe he has like expressions that are a little too a little too eyeball-y, like a little too much of the whites sort of vibe. Like when he's talking to people, he's got like a uncanny, more like unblinking sort of energy. Apollo perceiving looking ass. Like maybe there's something to that. Where there's just like an unsettling nature. So like he's being like nice and all this, but it's people are like put off by him. Because the tired eyes already kind of help with that, I feel. But I feel like something like that could be like the one thing you need that like really makes him stand out. He's just got like the crazy eyes. He's really nice, but has the crazy eyes. Slightly uncanny valley from the fact that he's not a real boy. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is that like he's kind of got an energy of like I'm performing humanity. And like other people can pick up on it because people pick up on that kind of thing really, really easily. And so he doesn't really know why people don't like him because it's nothing like overt, but it's like the way he does things is like slightly strange. And then maybe he like learns more as he goes and like actually bonds with people. That's the best idea I can come up with. This is a very cute character though. How do you do, fellow real people who were born from a womb and not imagined? Yeah, exactly. That kind of vibe. I feel like if you lean into that, you could get like a really interesting sort of take on this character. But I do really like the look of the character. You're in a tough spot because you're in a place where you can't really go too far in a lot of the directions I would normally go because of the story of the character. So you kind of have to find a creative way out of this hole you've dug. And I think those slight changes could probably get you there. But thank you very much for the submission. That's a fun one to talk about because it's very interesting. Okay, just a few more. We got this. This one is from Alan. This is a fun one. Really like the clothing look here. Got them calf pockets. We'll just stick with this one here. Alan says, this is Anasa Elo. She's part of a tourist friend group that travels around to different countries during vacation. She's supposed to be one of the most responsible of the group, keeping track of the group's finances and budget for trips like travel and hotel costs. Okay, cool. I really like the art on this one, and I like the angle of having like these pockets to keep track of things, since she's like the responsible one that's keeping track of things. I think though that I'm not like, from looking at her, I wouldn't guess that she was the responsible one. When I looked at her based on just like first impressions, I was like, she about to spend all that money. Like she's about to go hit the shops and spend that shit, not she's about to save that shit. So I'm trying to think of some elements we could work on that maybe give more she's about to save that shit vibes. So let's think on that. I feel like she needs like something that responsible people carry with them. Like, and it's like she can be like cool and hot, which she is, but she needs like a couple elements of like, I know this isn't cool, but I need to have it for responsibility reasons. Fanny pack, backpack are like the first things that I also thought of, like practicality pieces. I do feel like a backpack could be good. You could get like, and it could still be fun like with the design. And it would also like, you know, denote traveler. But like some sort of like practical pack on top of like the cute outfit could be fun. And I think it also adds like an element of, this looks like a person who is traveling, who is like a tourist. Backpacks automatically give that vibe, which I think is neat. Could also be fanny pack to cross with the belt. I know she's already got like 100,000 pockets, but you don't want to get pickpocketed. But like, what about fanny pack in cross contention with the belt? Make a little X down there. I think that would be nice. What else do like responsible people do? Like a paper map, decoy pockets. Oh, maybe she could have like, if she's the organizer, because she's got like this bracelet, she could have like a watch or something, like a organizer, like digital watch kind of thing. Which I would draw better, but my Cintiq won't let me do it. Could be on the other wrist too. Because it's like she's the one who's like keeping track of everything. She's got like one of them Casios on. She's rocking the Casio. Mini notebook. You could like have stuff, you know, in the pockets if you wanted to. If you wanted to have like a map, like sticking out of one, like some rolled up stuff that says like, my friends can't organize to save their lives. I have to do all of it, and so I have to keep track of like freaking everything. This would also add some visual interest to the silhouette if she had some stuff like coming out of the pocket. Keyring, oh, that's fun. Bracelet keyring. You could go that direction. She got like the hotel keys on there. Lots of accessories I think you could definitely do that would help give that vibe from like first impressions. And I do think, I mean, she's got a real chill vibe as part of her body language, but maybe she is chill about organizing. But when I think of an organizer, I think of more like this energy. There's like tension in the shoulders. There's like a tiredness to the eyes. And they're like, I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time with my friends. I'm so happy to be out with my friends. They're like, got like a barely keeping it together sort of vibe. So you could like put some elements of that if that is like her characterization. My phone is ringing. I ain't answering that shit. And then she got on the chunky watch. And she got on the bracelet with the keys. Hotel keys around the arm. Fanny pack. Crisscross with the belt. What a look. Damn, you just drew me on vacation. So yeah, I think you could definitely push that element of her where she's like, I have to take care of everything and it's stressing me out. But I really think it's like a cute character design and like well drawn too. I think you did a great job on like the fabric folds and the pose and everything. So really cool stuff. Definitely keep it up, and you know, hopefully this was helpful. Thank you for your support. Let's move on to Ian here. Copy image, paste. That's the same image. Copy image. There we go. Why did I like rotate it slightly? Get real. Fun character design here. Let's see. This character is part of a vague story idea from my final project for a fashion illustration class about 8 years ago. Been using the placeholder name Eric for him. He's meant to be the love interest for the other main character, with the vibe between them sort of being like Marceline and Bubblegum in a very vague way. He's supposed to be pretty spider-coded. Starts out the story as a local roguey rangery type, hunting mostly using snares, traps, and poisons. He's got a whole story, but until I have time to write it out, his main function is to be a pretty man for me to rotate in my mind like a rotisserie chicken every now and again. This is a fairly recent redesign, and I like it for the most part, but I do think it's a bit complex if I end up actually buckling down to make a comic or some sort of visual storytelling featuring him. Thanks in advance for the critique. Yeah, really, really cool clothing stuff going on here. I like the spidery design in the top for sure. I think currently what's bothering me, if it's like a fantasy world, because he said he's like a roguey rangery type who hunts using snares, traps, and poisons, so I imagine it's like a fantasy world. I think that like the pants, something about the pants, or like the pants and shoes situation is like seeming too normal to me compared to the top. And that's where I'm like getting hung up. Because the top is so interesting and intricate. And so I think we could do something like, because I like this, the tight top angle, tight top angle. So let's rough in a body here. Because I do really enjoy the intricate top that is often hidden under a cloak. So when he takes the cloak off, there's like a cool like visual thing under there for people to be like, whoa, I get it. He's spider coated. I see Ian in chat said all the design thoughts went to the top. Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, what I have to say here is probably not going to be shocking to you. But I do feel like the bottoms need to be simple because the top is so intricate. So I think you were correct on that front. And I like this. And the sort of spidery stuff going on here. And the cutouts are really cool. Maybe go like high. I think high collar would actually work really well for some contrast so it doesn't get too busy near the top. Like high collar, spider holes. Then maybe sleeves are kind of like down to here. Let's try to accentuate these spider holes a little bit. I'm kind of working here on simplifying the design a little bit so it's easier to do do repeatedly, I should say. Yeah, so then I think you got spider top. I think you could go big pants if you wanted to. You could go like big pants, baggy pants tucked into boots vibe to contrast with skin tight top. I think gloves would also be good. Because a roguish type would wear gloves. Just kind of going from like a silhouette perspective here. Kind of goes along with the arachnid body shape, small abdomen, big old cake. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. This needs to be even bigger for it to really work. I think you could really sort of exaggerate it. It also just makes for like a cool silhouette. Something else you could consider doing. Spikier on the hair back here, like more like a down and up to kind of be spider leggy. Something like that could be cool if it's not like too on the nose for you, depending on your vibe. And then are these piercings or are they just like markings? Because I do think they're neat either way. Yeah, that's cool. They're markings. Yeah, that's fun. I think you can lean into like spidery elements whenever you can. The pattern on the pants is based loosely on a real type of spider, but that's where I stopped with that. Yeah, you could still get the pattern in if you wanted to. But I feel like it might not even be necessary if the top is really intricate. You kind of want to keep the bottom a little simpler. But I mean, if you still wanted to do the pattern, you could definitely do something like this. Make the shoes black to draw, so as not to draw attention. Yeah, what do you think about something like this? Because I think if he's going to be cloaked up, then when he uncloaks, he should be, you know, kind of freak. He should have his freak flag flying, I think. You know what I'm saying? If you're rocking this shirt. And then, yeah, we get some boots, and then maybe there's something you could do with, because I feel like he should have one more kind of spidery element. Should there be something on the back? Or maybe he's got like a, if I could freaking draw anything, maybe he's got like a rope. Maybe got like a grappling hook. Got something to swing around with. Something to spider around with. But yeah, mostly I think what you could work on is enhancing some of the spidery elements, and then this sort of like body shape language where it's like tight on top, loose on bottom. You can even go like tight on top, tight on bottom, and that would also work if you had like, you know, like sort of skin tight, a skin tight vibe like all the way through. Could work as well. I think really the only place that it kind of gets muddled is when it's like tight on top and then like neutral-ish on bottom. I think that doesn't really work too well. I think you kind of got to go all in one direction or the other. But really cool design. I really like the idea. And I think he's cool. And I'm glad that you have a hot man to rotate in your head. Okay. We're so almost done. We have two more. We're doing it. Hold on, let me text my mom. I'm streaming, Mom. My mom doesn't even care that I'm streaming. What the hell layer do I have this text on? Down here? The hell was I thinking? Let's put that up at the top. Okay, Eye of the Basilisk. We got yours up next. Very cute crow type character. I like this art a lot. No, that's okay. You don't need to paste. Why would you paste? There you go. All you have to do is try and you can paste. Mushroom staff is adorable. I love that. Amanita, Amy. She started as a D&D character, a raven-based bird folk druid. She's a spores druid focusing on the balance of decay and life. We decided the thrall abilities were not flavorful for her, so instead she has little mushroom buddies that she takes care of. She grew to be a very beloved character of mine, and I would like to know what you think of her design. For some minor story, she lived in a mushroom forest alone for a long time, doesn't remember much of who she is. She's been in some sense reincarnated, but doesn't remember much of who she was before. She's slowly tapping into her old power over time. She's very young and not very intelligent, but she knows how to keep herself alive. Okay. I think this design is very cute. And I think it does tell the story that you are trying to tell, because you've got the look of the character, this like patchwork sort of dress type thing that they're wearing, along with the look on the face, does give like a very childlike sort of feeling. She said she's very young, not very intelligent. She's put together her own clothes. She's surviving on her own. The mushroom staff is like cobbled together and like grafted onto a stick. I think that's a very good touch. And the wrapped legs. It speaks to someone who like lives in the woods and is not very well off, for sure. Do I have any critiques of this character? I feel like it pretty much does what you're trying to do. I think the only thing, and this is probably more of like personal thoughts, but I really like to, I'm kind of thinking with like the mushroom staff. Let's see what you're saying in chat. The scarf, hat, and pink fabric area are things made from the people who raised her until she ended up alone, and she kind of just crafts until she can make things work. Yeah, I get that vibe for sure. I feel like the only thing I would think is that you could maybe echo the mushroom iconography or symbolism more often in the design rather than like just on the staff. Like even if it's just in terms of shape, you could like, if you got your bird head here, and you got your witch's hat, you could mushroom up the witch's hat a little bit. It doesn't have to be a mushroom top, but in terms of shape language, I usually don't like to do things just like one time. I feel like it should have an echo somewhere else in the design. So it's a potential thing you could think of. Shape the hat like a mushroom. Could be more of like a sun hat, like a found sun hat rather than like a wizard hat. I do like these shoulders are kind of mushroomy. I do enjoy that aspect. You could even do like, there's like different types of mushrooms maybe you could evoke within the character. Like maybe in like the scarf or something, you could have, because like presumably she uses like mushrooms and mushroom helpers to do lots of things. So I feel like that could be like part of the outfit too. You could have like these little like gnocchi guys in the scarf, like more organic material in the outfit. Because it feels like if she has these powers over mushrooms and doesn't have a lot of clothes, then maybe these more organic elements would make their way into the outfit in some kind of way. A necklace of dried mushrooms. Yeah, that's a good idea too. And it doesn't have to be like all over the place. You don't have to go like overboard with it. But I think just like in a couple spots on the outfit to be like, just to carry the theming through the character a little more, I think would be really fun. And you could also like look up all the different kinds of mushrooms there are and find some like interesting ways to do it. Because there are those ones that are kind of like, they're like flat like this, and they kind of have like ridges. There could probably be something fun you could do with that type of vibe. maybe on like a shoulder or something. One of her buddies is that type. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think just like if those are like her friends too, or like these little mushroom familiars, then maybe she would reflect more of that in her own design to like be kind of like, you know, if you hang out with the same people a lot, you end up kind of like dressing and looking more like them. If she's hanging out with mushrooms all the time, maybe like more of that naturalistic design would be reflected in her own design as well. Just something fun to think about. I think it's a really cute design though. I have like no problem with how it is right now either, but it's a fun angle you could take if you so desired. But thank you so much for contributing and for sharing. Let's hop to the next one. Oh, you posted some of the mushrooms. Hold on. This is a great image. We have to look at this. We have to look at this before we move on. This is insanely good. This is powerful stuff. This is powerful and moving imagery right here. And I feel like this is going to have a active improving quality on everyone's day when they see it. So, you know, just everyone take it in and enjoy. Okay, we got Lovesick. Oh my god, Lovesick, you're always doing this shit to me where you post the sickest shit I've ever seen and then be like, now tell me how to make it better. And I'm like, I don't know. You did it better than me. You did it better than I would have. Let's take a look though. Look at these freaking designs, man. They're so cool. And then you've also got the little sprites here. I don't know if I can get them. Olive, you can't be here, man. You can't be here, Olive. We're streaming. Maybe if I... Oh, you know what? I can just do it this way. Just peek them on. Peekaboo. There's the sprites. The sprites are so fun. I love that. Okay, let's read what you wrote and see what we can see here. Just wanted to share my guys for this class, not looking for any critique or trace over in particular. Their designs are all pretty locked in, but you can just vibe check them and give your impressions and like which of them you want to be friends with. Lovesick, you knew when you posted it. You were like, these fucking rule, man. But honestly, I'm glad you posted them because I just like to look at them. I just want to see them. Okay, let's go through the group here. We got Blame, a girl fail with 2 chips on her shoulder. Her look's always been very buttoned up, but I had the flower ornament on the hat to break up the tension of her otherwise grounded silhouette with a slightly goofy element, and to tie her flower theming into her design. Scrappy and very pathetic. That's very fun. I really like the flower on the hat, and I do think it serves to do exactly what you said. It gives it like this charm element, and to like, it's a very cool design all around, but this little stupid flower really like is what would make somebody go from being like, oh, I really like that character to I love that character, because it's just so memorable to have this one weird little thing on an otherwise very cool coded design. And I'm a sucker for any character that's got the baseball bat with the nail in it. That's like my vibe, big time. Who else we got here? Spito is the first design, and it shows, I think, she dresses very eccentric and comes off as being mystifying, but also very unserious. Bonded pair with Blame. Yeah, this is very fun in that it's a character that's inscrutable, but then acting very cute and very silly. I think is a very good combination. It's especially fun to try and indicate expression when all you have is a single eyeball, but I think you've done a great job of that here. Let's look at Punk Leo. Punk Leo might be my favorite. A boy cat who leans fantasy in his presentation and uses ice magic. It was key for me that they remain squart. Where the frickin' heck did it go? Ribbon posting messages in the chat while I'm trying to read. How dare you? Squart and wide with an oppressive caped silhouette. He's bad. No, I think he's very good. Actually, I think he's actually very good. This is my kind of shit right here. This is me. This is real and this is me. Also, I was just kidding, Ribbon. I don't know why your message made it jump to the very bottom of the chat. Kilaga, a demon lady who leans Japanese folkloric in design and employs fire magic. She's terminally aunt-coded and demonstrates Garfield eyes, which disarms how tall and cool she is. These last two characters having more obvious theming in their designs from the other four is a pretty important detail. The Garfield eyes are really funny on this character. I fucking love Dark Souls. Me too. You can be my aunt anytime. Zoshil, requisite hot guy with an object head. Maybe familially related to another character included here. I wonder which one. His attire gives chill professor vibes, but he can't help but be intimidating. Very mysterious, and the prior two characters work for him. This is a very fun design for me as well. Object heads, those are for Julia though. If you got a freak with an object head, that's for Julia. If you've got a squart freak who's a dickhead, that's for me. So, whoa! Squart freak dickhead, that's for me. Inscrutable object head, that's for Julia. And then we got Nautilus. This is the one that's on the shirt that you gave me. The resident child of the cast, an LCD game device for a head, and uses two prosthetic blades to ambulate. The varsity jacket was a thing I drew with them with once, but it really completed their silhouette and also informed their character and role heavily, so it ended up sticking. She's athletic and a total nerd ass and has a variety of games and digital pets installed in her head. That's so fun. And I'm a huge fan, as you know by now, of an element that you add just because it makes the silhouette cool. I'm all about that. Do they need to wear a varsity jacket? No, but who cares? It looks good and it fixes the silhouette. These are awesome, Lovesick. Thank you for sharing. I just love seeing your character work. It brings me a great joy every time, and it's inspiring to me as well. Makes me want to design more little freaks. And before we're done for good, let's go back here and check back out onto Ribbon Road here. I want to take one more look because of this new message. And then we will be donezo. Especially since I gave Ribbon Road shit. Thought to try drawing original real Ken to think of ways current Ken can become weirdened. So this was the original one, like over here, and this is like the... This is the normal human. Oh, I see. So this was the original, and then this is the created one. I got you. I understand. Ken 13 is, yeah, the real child. And this one with the dull eyes is the created child. Kay saw OG Ken die and for a long time was stuck staring into his dead eyes, so that impacted his memory of Ken's eyes. That is brutal and very sad. But, cool plot point nonetheless. I do think finding a way to really make the eyes like deader and freakier is really going to be the secret. The secret to Ken. Ken's secret. that makes it work. Because I think having like the cute design, the cute and attractive design with the unsettling dead eyes is such a fun juxtaposition. So I hope you, I mean, it's already working better here, but I think even further you could push it would be sick. Okay, I think we're going to be done here. Thank you all so much for participating at the DrawClass level of Patreon. We super appreciate it, and I love seeing all your work. It's always so much fun for me to go through and like look at all your stuff. It's inspiring and fun, and I hope this has like helped you, given you some new things to think about when you're making your characters, in terms of like how to make them pop and stand out, and like little things you can add and change to make a big impact. Thank you all so much. I think nothing really else to report, I don't think. So I will probably end the stream here. Appreciate you all very much. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody. See ya.